Our next inductee was a girls golf individual and team champion, state champion in 2008. The boys golf region player of the year in 2009. First Baptist MVP in basketball, golf, and volleyball. And was a part of the SEC Golf Team Championship at Vanderbilt University in 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Rose Higgins.
Let me begin by saying thank you to the committee for establishing the First Baptist Athletic Hall of Fame and for considering me to be a part of it among so many distinguished, well-deserving individuals. I'm honored to be here and more importantly thankful to be back at First Baptist. While it's not that same gym with those yellow rubber floors I ran up and down countless times, or that walk from the Battery to the campus downtown, it's still the same institution, and the people who played a pivotal role in my life are still here represented in some way. I came to First Baptist in 8th grade, reluctantly. My family was moving from Detroit, Michigan, and my dreams of attending the massive public high school my brother and sister attended, being a basketball star, going to Michigan, becoming a dentist, were seemingly stripped away from me. When I found out we were moving, I even remember angrily asking God how any good could come from it. And I sometimes harken back to those memories when I need a dose of humility to remind myself, if left to my own devices, I would have chosen Detroit, Michigan over Charleston, South Carolina, and all the beautiful things that have come with it. And it's very humbling to remember that I don't always know what's best, and God has better things in store. The move was a culture shock in virtually every sense of the way. I felt like an outcast and took a while to get adjusted, but thankfully the basketball court was where I felt the most at home. I'd been playing since I was a young kid. Since I made my first shot at 5 years old, and I counted every single basket I made until I got to the thousands, which was a testament to my love for the game, incessant drive, and probably undiagnosed OCD. One of my proudest accomplishments was earning a starting spot on the varsity team as an 8th grader. And those memories with Rachel King as our coach and her stiletto heels stomping on the ground are still ingrained in my mind. And I love being a part of those teams. But probably notice I'm not here being honored for basketball as much as I would have liked to be. I remember getting the acceptance letter for this and it reading, "Congratulations, you're being inducted," and in big bold letters, "as a golfer." But the truth of the matter is, I didn't start playing golf until we moved here when I was in 8th grade. My parents, both college coaches, adept at evaluating talent, quickly saw that my basketball ability was capped out. But I could focus hours at a time and had an intense drive and thought that golf could be a good fit for me. And it was something we could all do together. So that 8th grade year, I signed up for the boys golf team in the spring. Honestly, I don't think I could get the ball in the air at that point. I remember our first match at Patriots Point, the golf coach announced that there was a triple bogey maximum. And I did the math in my head and said, okay, 9 holes, the worst I can shoot is 63. And then I proceeded to count down from 63 for the rest of the match. I think I shot 56, which is not good by any stretch of imagination. But I remember that first tee, I think I was the only girl, all the boys, country club boys, high school older than me, from Porter-Gaud, Pinewood, lining up to see if I had what it took to succeed. I enjoyed playing, but really wasn't good at that point. And to make matters worse, as I was trying to fit into my new school, all the popular girls deemed that golf just wasn't cool. There was a ceremony at the end of the year which honored the athletes from each team. And I begged my mom to let me stay home from school because I couldn't bear the idea of me standing on a stage in front of First Baptist being honored as a golfer, which is kind of ironic now. Thankfully, this perception of golf changed over time at the school, and thankfully I got a lot better. I owe the turning point in my development as a golfer to my instructor, Ricky Sullivan, who got me from shooting in the 90s to 70s pretty quickly. I wouldn't have played college golf without his tutelage. I also owe a debt of gratitude to our high school coach, Coach David Rowell, who sacrificed many hours of his life driving us across the state, setting up practices, and doing everything we needed to succeed. He helped start the Skeeza girls team the fall of my junior year, and playing with Brooke and Jess, traveling across the state, singing karaoke in the backseat of the cars are some of my fondest memories. High-level golf can be very self-centered, intense, and kind of drains the fun out of it, but the fun we had as a team is something I'll always remember. And winning that state championship the fall of my junior year was really the catalyst for me realizing I could win at bigger stages. Golf has provided me opportunities to meet some extraordinary people, play at some of the nicest courses in the world, and be a part of programs at both the University of South Carolina and Vanderbilt University. It's a sport unlike any other I've ever played. Everything I'd done my whole life, the harder I tried, the better I did. But this just wasn't the case for golf. It's taught me so many lessons, humility and empathy for others as I've gone through my own ups and downs and struggles, examined every personal flaw of mine that seemed to be magnified in the course, and I'm all the better for it. Like most of my competitive peers, I had goals and dreams of playing professionally. But once again, my own plan for life wasn't as good as what God had in store for me. I now work in private equity in Charlotte, where in most cases I'm the only female walking into a boardroom full of men. Not too much different than those boys' golf matches in high school, where they're all lining up watching to see if I have what it takes to succeed. I'll finish by thanking my parents, the two most important individuals in my life. They sat back quietly and watched on, and let me fight my own battles, and I'm always thankful for that. They instilled in me a competitive spirit, drive, sense for team over self, and most importantly, taught me that my identity is never in my accomplishments or sport, but in my faith in Christ. To my mom, who had to bear the brunt of the negative parts of my competitive spirit, who had to deal with the tantrums after bad rounds, and the marathon warm-up sessions before my warm-ups, where I'd shoot in the gym for 2 hours until I started missing and I'd ask her why I was missing. I appreciate your patience and for speaking hard truth to me even when I didn't want to hear it. And to my dad, who's made so many sacrifices for me to play golf and be here, who scouted out First Baptist for me and thought it would be a good spot. He's the greatest man I know, and I'm so thankful for the lessons he's taught me, his steadiness in life through the ups and downs, and perseverance and faith. I'll always be his little girl waiting for him to come home in the evenings to show him the scabs on my knees I got that day from diving on the court for loose balls, and seeing that big grin on his face and saying, "That's my girl." Thanks again to everyone here. I'm always reminded when I come back to First Baptist how it really is a family atmosphere, as Lawton said, and just how self-sacrificial everyone is, from my classmate and good friend Mallory spending 30 hours to make that cake, to the Hyatt family who's always been dear to me, doing all the work to set everything up here, Coach McCombs, Coach Haley, Coach Crawford. Everyone here is just so great. I'm very appreciative to be part of the First Baptist family.